All right, we're on. Okay. Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here. Welcome to this live stream. I figured I'd put another one of these out there. I know it's been a while since I've actually done a video. It's actually been about 2 weeks. And yeah, lately things have been a little busy, so I'm just kind of chilling here for the night. Right now it's like 1:46 a.m. in the morning. And yeah, right now it's been a little crazy, a little hectic here at the studio. We've just been doing a lot of updates and everything right now, so I'm just going to go tell you guys about what's happening in terms of updates and everything. Hi, Alejandro. How are you? Doing really well. Yeah, I'm just going to be giving a few updates. Hi, Eric. How's it going, Eric? Good to see you. But yeah, just I know it's been a while since I've done a video, essentially, on YouTube. That's mostly due to the fact, a couple reasons. One, I'm trying to get the next 2 reviews out as soon as possible. They are taking me a little longer than usual. One, because they are one of them is extensively long, and I'll explain that in a minute. And 2, the other one is very production heavy. So right now, I'm just kind of currently trying to edit it all together and get everything to go and so on. The other reason videos haven't been coming out lately is because I had to go to a summer camp for a week to kind of just take a break from everything, and I was off the grid for a week and did not have any Wi-Fi, so that happened. And then on top of that, I was going to be filming some stuff for later videos at the camp, and unfortunately, I did not get a chance to. And finally, I've actually been suffering a bit of a cold this last week, and that's mostly due to the fact that one of the campers, there was like a cold epidemic going around, and I got caught with it. So I'm just trying to let this thing slide before I do any other work and so on. So yeah, just cold, a few delays on a few projects, and so on. The other thing is I will be going to ConBravo on Saturday. Now, if you guys don't know what ConBravo is, hi, Cancer itself. I love that name. That is hysterical. Hi, Ethan. Hi, Shane. I do not have DeviantArt, Eric. And yes, I have seen the Jurassic World 2 title and everything, and there will be a Let's Talk coming down the road. But I want to make sure I get it out before a trailer comes out so I can give my thoughts of what I want to do. So yeah, ConBravo. So ConBravo is basically a geeky convention in Hamilton, Ontario, and I'm based in Ontario, Canada. And I'm going to be going down there for Saturday just to chill with friends and everything. But there are a lot of guests there. Obviously, Doug Walker, Nostalgia Critic, Linkara, the cast of Team 4-Star. A lot of people are going to be down here for this event. So for any of my Ontario fans who want to come meet me and everything and see Nostalgia Critic, come on down. I think admission is about $25 for the day on Saturday. And yeah, if you want to hang out, if you want to ask me some questions, go ahead. But yeah, so ConBravo is happening. I'm dealing with a cold. And also the 2 video reviews, I hate to say they're supposed to be due out this week, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it on time. But I am at this moment going to be working around the clock to get those videos done. So just a bit of patience, guys, because it is going to take me a while to get these next 2 videos out. And hopefully I can try to keep it up where it's like there's at least 2 videos a month in terms of schedule. So yeah, with that out of the way, fire some questions. I'll see about answering some of them. Will your King Kong film be released on Blu-ray? Not at the moment. We are currently working mostly on DVDs right now. That's going to be the main objective. But yeah, so you know what, Ethan? It's funny because at camp I was going to be doing a lot more writing, and apparently it's interesting because like it took going off the grid for a little bit. It actually helped me get my creative process going again, especially on a big project that I want to do. I kind of got my writing streak going on again. I did get a chance to actually write the first 2 episodes for my Halloween month this year, so that's a plus. But in terms of the Kong the Kong novel that I'm writing, again, it's on hold for right now, but I'm hoping to get back to it. What is my favorite prehistoric animal? Probably a woolly mammoth or a saber-toothed tiger. You could probably guess because of Power Rangers, but also because they're probably the most well-known aside from dinosaurs for me. What's my favorite Disney and Pixar movie? Okay, Shane, I'm gonna answer this in two separate ways. My favorite Disney animated film of all time is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I saw that movie in theaters, but I mean, as a kid, I was more into Lion King and shit. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten to appreciate it a lot more, just for how dark and adult it is for a story of this nature. I do maybe want to review it one day, but that would also mean I'd have to review the sequel, which, spoiler alert, is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Hi, Nick. How you doing? Good to see ya. Sanctuary! Yes, we're actually talking about Hunchback at the moment. So, yeah, in terms of my favorite animated film by Disney, that would be The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Live-action Disney movie? I mean, there's so many of them, and I'm mostly into whatever they do with the swashbuckler genre, so like Three Musketeers with Chris O'Donnell and Tim Curry comes to mind. I like Angels in the Outfield, and I like Pirates of the Caribbean, probably the best well-known. And in terms of my favorite Pixar movie, Toy Story. The first Toy Story, that was my shit when I was a kid, and as a kid, I saw Toy Story probably twice in the theater when it came out as a child. I remember seeing it at a really old movie theater where my old cottage was, and I just remember loving that movie as a child. And I actually wanted to be one of those people, those big fanboys, where I tried to collect everything I saw in Andy's room and try to put it together and like make my own replica, essentially. Would prehistoric mammals fit well in your Skull Island? You see, the thing is, like, I mean, this is an example, like, kind of like with Kong's Skull Island. If you guys have not seen my review, my only disappointment was the fact that there was no dinosaurs. I mean, aside from the skull crawlers. But for the animals, the creatures they did put in, they were acceptable to me, and they passed. But in terms of prehistoric mammals, I think, honestly, just a saber-toothed tiger would probably be the only thing I'd be pretty much passable with other creatures on Skull Island. What would you rather explore, Isla Nublar or Sorna? I can't choose that, honestly, because they're both two separate, different worlds, essentially, in the world of Jurassic Park. I like Nublar because of all the theme park stuff, but I think I would probably go with Sorna also because it's just more like jungle-y and Skull Island-y. Have you seen the recent Pirates of the Caribbean movie? Yes, I have. You can go to my channel and you can watch my opening night review of the 5th movie. Will you review Kong King of the Apes? Yes. After the next episode of the Kong reviews, which will be about the King Kong video games. Yeah, that's going to be exciting. That actually, Kong King of the Apes will be the season 3 finale. I've decided I'm going to stop this season right with Kong King of the Apes, the Netflix show, and then take some time off and eventually start working on season 4. Hey man, love your video so much. Thank you, Geeky. I can't read your full name. It's way too long. I'm into retro films and your content is really great. Like your video hauls. You should do more shirts. Well, actually, it's interesting because I do actually have a few things here if you guys want to check it out. I just want to read through a few questions first. Again, I get this question all the time, Shane, about reviewing Godzilla movies. I'm not currently going to be reviewing them. I may do a top 10 favorite in the future because I'm only a mild Godzilla fan. I like Godzilla. Don't get me wrong, I love Godzilla, but I'm not like as a hardcore fan as I am to like something like Kong. But yeah, maybe one day I'll do like a top 10 list. But I am planning for a possible alternative version of some Godzilla reviews in the future. We're still going to show deleted scenes for King Kong. Yes, there are a few coming. I just needed a break from a few things, and this next deleted scene that I'm going to be working on is going to be a little bit heavy because I got to do some sketches and drawings for it. But if you guys want to see some hauls I got or some cool shit I got recently, I'll just I'll just show you a few things because like there's not much here around me right now. But I'll show you a few DVDs I just bought just very quickly in terms of, so consider this kind of a little pickup vlog. Hooray. The first thing I should mention is I actually bought the first 2 seasons of Rugrats, and when I was a kid, Rugrats was the fucking shit, and it was awesome. And I can't believe it's taken them this goddamn long to release it on DVD. Don't know about Blu-ray yet, but I pretty much got the first 2 seasons, and me and Brad have been binge watching it like every night till like 4 in the morning. We're pretty much, I'd say 1/3 into the second half of season 1. But I'm really looking forward to season 2 because season 2 probably has some of my favorite episodes. So yeah, I love Rugrats. Rugrats, in my opinion, was the best Nickelodeon show of all time. And I mean, I like SpongeBob and Hey Arnold, and I am looking forward to that new Hey Arnold movie. But if we're getting, a new Hey Arnold, Rocko's Modern Life and shit, where's our Rugrats kind of reunion TV special or whatever? That's what I want to know. Now it's interesting because there was a new thrift store that just opened in my area, and they had some good deals. So I just picked these up for $4. Obviously, this movie I've only seen once, but I might watch it again because again, I hear it's a classic for a lot of people because I never grew up with this movie, but I kind of appreciate it for what it is. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I picked this up for about, I think, $1 at the thrift store, and this is the Vista Series Edition, and I don't know if this version is good or not in terms of quality. Let me know in the chat, and I'll have to see for myself. And then this is a box that I wanted to get for a long time, and that is, of course, the Man with No Name trilogy. This is the classic Western trilogy starring the legendary Clint Eastwood. Funny enough, the only one I've really seen in its entirety is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I've seen bits and pieces of Fistful of Dollars and a few dollars more, but a few reasons I like this shit is because, one, Clint Eastwood, badass motherfucker in these movies, and two, half the reason I like these movies, Ennio Morricone. He is actually one of my favorite film composers, and I just love all his music. His music is fucking brilliant. If he was coming here live in Toronto, I'd go see him. All right, let's see. So that's pretty much some of the pickup stuff. Oh, and I did pick up these He-Man figures. I'm not much into He-Man. I only picked these up because I'm probably going to be selling these. But I talked to my buddy Thomas, who is a huge He-Man collector, and he tells me these are pretty valuable. It's like I could get both of these for like $50 or something, so that's kind of cool. Now, just very quickly, I don't know about you guys. Quick question. What is this from? I have no idea. It looks old. It says like it's an 80s figure or something. But let me know in the chat because I have no clue who this character or this figure is. So just let me know in the chat, and I'll see what his value is. Because occasionally I find stuff and then I sell it to make a bit of extra money. All right, let's go through some of these comments because we've got a lot here. Let's see here. All right. I collect Indiana Jones stuff. You're a big Universal Studio collector too. That's cool. I have a huge, almost a shrine in my room that's dedicated to Universal Studios. Think Paramount will ever release an extended cut for King Kong 1976? I hope so. They really missed out on a good opportunity for the 40th anniversary on doing a Blu-ray for us here in America and Canada. And, you know, the 3 main leads are still kicking. And I really hope they do some sort of interview because, like, a lot of the actors obviously have moved on to better things. You know, Jessica Lange doing American Horror Story and Rob Roy and all that shit. And also what's that rival show with her and I think Susan Sarandon. I'm not too sure, but I hear that show's really good. Jeff Bridges is doing really well. Haven't heard much from Charles Grodin. But I would just love to see those 3 and Rick Baker come in and just talk about the movie and do like some sort of like 40th anniversary interview. There's still time for the 45th anniversary. I'm at least going to hold up for that. How many fan films are you going to make? See, Kong was kind of in terms of fan films, basically kind of a lifelong dream I had was to remake Kong, but the way I wanted to see it by using projects that never came to fruition and making it kind of a big sandwich. And it was a real learning experience for me because I never took film school. A lot of my education was DVDs and bonus features on DVDs for films. That was my education, and also the YouTube at the time when I was in high school. So Kong was very much I think very much an experimental film to see if I could pull off a feature. But in terms of fan films, I have a lot of ideas I would love to do. My next big project is basically going to be an Inuyasha fan film. We're debating if we're going to do it as a web series or as an anthology trilogy that takes place in the timeline. Because I love that Inuyasha. I love that show to death, and I really want to do some sort of live-action adaptation of Rumiko Takahashi's world. But instead of just remaking it or anything like that, I actually want to continue it and tell new stories in this universe because there's just so many opportunities for more adventures with Inuyasha and Kagome and Sango and shit. And I would just love to tell more stories in that world. So that's probably going to be my next thing. It's either going to be a web series or it's going to be an anthology trilogy, which I would like to do. What if King Kong was real? I would love that. As long as we don't kill him and like put him in like a sanctuary or close up Skull Island to the public. I wouldn't make it a theme park or anything, but just acknowledge that he does exist. But that would be cool. That'd be cool. Mattel's making classic vintage line for Jurassic. Yes, I'm actually excited about that. If you guys want to know, in 2018, I will continue the Jurassic Park Legacy reviews because essentially there are other things I want to review with Jurassic Park. One is the Sega arcade game, the rail shooter from '94. I really want to review that game, and a few other games I have in my collection. But there's also the ride at Universal Studios, and everything's gonna lead up to the next film. But also the toys. I loved the toys as a kid. I had a lot of them, and then I threw them at a garage sale, and I feel like a fucking idiot for doing that. And I have eventually started to recollect them all and rebuy them and everything at local conventions or at Goodwills and everything. I have the Bull T-Rex from the Lost World line. I had that as a kid, and I loved it. And now I have it again, which I'm happy for. And it's a great condition. I think I picked it up for like $2, and it goes for what, $100 online, which is fucking insane for a loose figure. But and in terms of the Jurassic World toy line, I was actually very disappointed. I watch a lot of Jurassic collectibles, and he's like in terms of Jurassic Park YouTubers, he's one of my favorites. And he reviewed most of the toys, and I was actually surprised how shitty they looked. There were one or two I was considered picking up. One is the Indominus Rex and the Ankylosaur and the Ceratosaur, because we didn't get toys of those from the original line. Those are really the only ones I give a shit about, and if I find them, I'll probably buy them. Because when I buy toys, guys, I usually buy them at secondhand stores or at thrift shops or garage sales, because really, honestly, that's all I really give a shit about in terms of buying old toys. But yeah, Mattel doing the toy line. I'm skeptical, but I'm also very intrigued with what they're going to do. If they're going to make it like the old toy line, I will be happy with that. I know they have the toy license for most of the DC stuff, and some of the DC stuff is okay, but if they can do something with Jurassic Park and make it look cool, I'll be all for it. The whole giant-sized dino thing, that's probably going to happen, like a lot of toys, but I just want my old-school-looking Jurassic Park stuff. All right, so let's go through the comments again. We got a couple new ones. The Dollar Trilogy. Yeah, I know, it's a great trilogy. What if King Ghidorah came back for Godzilla vs. Kong? Okay, here's my speculation of what's going to happen, because I want to do a Let's Talk on this with Godzilla vs. Kong. I think it's going to come down to when they fight, Godzilla's going to have more power, but Kong has the strength. So it's a battle between power and strength, and I think they're going to be equally matched. But I think it's going to be kind of a scenario where they're just fighting over territory. They're not necessarily hate each other like Batman v Superman or something like that. But I think the King Ghidorah is for Godzilla 2, hands down. Do I think they'll bring him back for Godzilla vs. Kong? I don't think so, but here's what I'm guessing what's going to happen. Neither of them are going to win. What's going to happen is another monster shows up and they team up and make amends. And I think that monster should be Gigan. I think Gigan would be the perfect opportunity or the perfect opponent for Godzilla and Kong to fight. But I think that's what they should do, and that'll probably be the best option, is to bring in Gigan and other Godzilla enemies. And I think eventually, once you get to the third Godzilla, maybe do Mechagodzilla and then the fourth Godzilla, Destroya, and then end it there. I think is what they should do. And maybe do a Destroy All Monsters, but yeah. Bull T-Rex or here? Bro. Probably the Bull T-Rex. Jurassic Park T-Rex, hands down, is the best T-Rex of all time. Have I seen Spider-Man Homecoming? No, because I haven't got around to see most of the summer movies. Like, I have yet to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I haven't even seen Civil War yet. I feel so bad for saying that. Haven't seen Civil War, haven't seen Wonder Woman, which I really need to get to see. Haven't seen Dunkirk, haven't seen Spider-Man. There's so many movies out right now that I really want to watch. I just haven't had the time for them, and it's mostly because I can't really get around that often because I live in the middle of nowhere, and the closest theater is a bit far off for me. So, but yeah, there are a couple movies I do want to see, and I really want to see Spider-Man because I love the Sam Raimi trilogy. And if you guys want to see a really good review of the Sam Raimi trilogy or the first two, go watch Movie Bob. He's amazing. But the last two Spider-Man movies were fucking awful. I'm sorry for those who like it. The last two Spider-Man movies were just really a waste of time. Especially, they were just kind of like holding on to the leash that Sony had. And with Spider-Man Homecoming, do I wish it was Tobey Maguire coming back? Yes. But I am kind of happy with where it's going with Spider-Man. Even though I'm not a big Marvel fan. Thank you, Ultimate Bleach. That's cool. His name's Ultimate Bleach. That's funny. Hi, Evan. Hi, Gorgira Largan, 1995. Sorry if I pronounced your name so shitty. Yeah, Nickelodeon from the 90s was the best. Oh, Kablam. No, okay, does anybody remember Action League Now? Because I remember that shit. That was only one show I kind of, like, it was in the back of my head, and then I would remember it, be like, that show is cool. It's just a bunch of action figures doing funny shit. But if you guys remember Action League Now, that shit was fucking hilarious. I might someday show my Universal Studios collection, because I do have a good collection growing right now, but I want to get a bit more stuff before I really show it off. Master Builder 164, you just missed just me updating. I'm going to ConBravo. I was at camp, so that's why I haven't been able to post videos for 2 weeks, and I've been sick with a cold. Here's the thing, Levis Cretaceous. I have yet to see the first Pacific Rim. And I had tried to watch it, but I got 5 minutes in, and then I had to go do something, and I forgot to watch it. But I have it, but I'm going to get around to watching it. And the sequel, looks fun. Looks fun. Oh, how was The Amazing Spider-Man, Nick? Yeah, Ultimate Bleach. Your name is funny. I have a very dark sense of humor, so you're cool with me on my part. Apparently, new Venom movie is going to take place in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. Because Andrew Garfield. Honestly, Nick, I think Sony, if they want to keep Spider-Man, they're going to have to share the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is what they're going to have to do. I really hope the Venom movie is part of that MCU, because I want to see Venom done right. I hear Tom Hardy is cast, which I'm excited for. But you know what? Honestly, I don't know what Venom needs. Needs fucking Carnage. Venom versus Carnage. Make that the movie. And get somebody really freaky to play Carnage. I know a lot of people, when the Spider-Man movies, Sam Raimi movies came out, they wanted Jim Carrey. Maybe, but I would see more something like the guy who plays Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones. He would be a good Carnage. Or Joker. I want to see, like, I know he's in the, oh right, he's in the Inhuman shit. So he can't play Carnage, god damn it. But if he does, like, if the guy plays Ramsay Bolton, if he does anything else, if he does anything for DC, I want him as the Joker. Hands down. Yeah, Master Builder, I had to re-upload that video of the Orca review because of copyright at the end of the video. Because of the Jaws music I used in the at the end of the video. Hi, Brad! Howdy, fuckface! Yeah, guys, I should just give you a heads up. If you want a guy who does really good gaming reviews and is actually really doing really good reviews, go check out Studio 95's channel. He's like Bradley Dunn is like a brother to me, so he could definitely use the support from you guys. Go watch his videos. He just did a review of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and he's doing Nickelodeon month right now, so you can go check out his channel. Just go check it out. Do it. It's amazing. Oh, so they are doing Venom versus Carnage. Okay. Because because Carnage, from what I heard back in the day when I saw, because I used to have a friend of mine who was into the Spider-Man, who knew everything about the Spider-Man movies. Apparently, they were planning about 5 movies for Spider-Man, and the 5th one was going to be the last one, and it was going to involve Carnage. And I figured, what a way to end the series. So yeah, it's about damn time we got Carnage in these movies. No problem, Brad. Also, shout out to Nick Jackson. Go check out his videos. He's cool too. What the hell? Actually, you guys should just all share each other's contact info because, like a lot of my viewers probably do a lot of. Even though I don't have time to really look at all my fans' work, I'm sure they have a lot of great content in there. So just share each other's information. Let's all get together and have some fun. See I'd say the top 3 baddies in the Godzilla universe for me, or 4, I'll make it 4, is King Ghidorah, Gigan, Mechagodzilla, and Destroya. Those are the top 4 favorite Godzilla enemies for me. So if they show up in any of the movies, I'm all for it. Go ahead, Ultimate Bleach. I won't stop you. Because I've got a few jokes. I would tell jokes, but I'm not saying them here. If you PM me on Facebook though, I might. You know, the new Joker has problems. I will agree he looks like Pimp Mr. James / Marilyn Manson. But I feel like if whatever movie they do next, if they change his makeup enough, it'll be fine. And I think if Jared Leto does something a little bit different than what he did in Suicide Squad, it'd be fine. I actually thought he was perfectly passable for me. I like the idea that he's kind of a gangster and kind of runs a bunch of clubs and shit, and he's like more crime driven. That's cool. Reminds me of like the Jack Nicholson Batman Joker. Oh, Bleach! Oh! Oh! Oh, I should not laugh at that joke. Oh! Bro! Savage! Oh, fuck, bro. Wow. The good one. That's good. That's good. I should not laugh at that, but that's good. Oh, Levis Crustaceous. I was going to say a double Manhattan. All right, that's enough of the dark humor. Let's try to keep it minimum. Who's my favorite girl? Rosario Vampire Mocha. Outer Mocha, for sure. I want to get her on the show at one point. I just got to figure out how the fuck I'm going to do that. Because the thing is with Rosario Vampire, I know a lot of people don't like the anime because the manga was more darker and this is more, they turned it into a comedy. For me, I like it because, you know what it's got a huge vibe of? It's got a huge Back to the Future vibe for me. I think that's one because I just saw that a lot in the comedy, but also I saw this amazing AMV, which you guys should look up. It's a Rosario Vampire AMV with Huey Lewis's Power of Love. And it matches so perfectly that it actually sparked my idea of writing a Back to the Future Rosario Vampire crossover. I might save that for a Let's Talk of some sorts, but it's just something I do want to get out there. I think that would be kind of cool. Like it's very out of nowhere and completely ridiculous, but I have a concept of how I can make that work in a story in terms of that. So all right, let's see who else we got here. Yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming, I hear, was pretty good. I hear it was pretty good. What dinosaurs would I like to see in Jurassic World 2 Fallen Kingdom? It's kind of up in the air for me. Because I mean, from what we gathered, we're getting T-Rex. If you guys saw the leaked photos on the set, T-Rex is there. It's a full-size animatronic. Stegosaurus was there. Triceratops. I am so happy we're getting the Spitter again. From when I saw the leaked photos, I want the Spitter to come back, the Dilophosaurus, because that is something I've wanted for a long ass time. We haven't seen him since the first movie, so I'm really wanting to see him again. That's the one I probably look forward to the most. Maybe Spinosaurus, as long as T-Rex kills that fucker. Seriously, that like the creature's cool and all, but he does not deserve to have the throne of Sorna. I'm sorry. And by the way, big plot hole here. If the T-Rex that got killed by the Spinosaurus was the juvenile, the baby T-Rex from the Lost World, where was Mom and Dad the whole time on this whole movie? Because seriously, where were they? Because they could easily take out the Spinosaurus. Like, if they did that in the movie, that'd be cool. You know, it's funny, Nick, with Small Soldiers, I remember seeing it as a kid. It actually kind of freaked me out. It was kind of scary in some areas. What do you expect from the guy who did Gremlins? But the song I remember the most from that movie was War, What Is It Good For? I remember that song the most from the trailers and shit. That was, that's the only song I know from Small Soldiers. I've yet to see Vampire Knight in terms of an anime because, again, I'm kind of slow on my anime. The animes I'm currently watching right now are I'm trying to finish up Inuyasha, and I'm currently watching Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, which I am loving so far. I know a lot of people don't like that version, that series, but I'm liking it for what it is. It's like Star Wars, Star Trek, with a bit of Transformers and Top Gun, directed by James Cameron, is how I can describe Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, and I'm liking it so far. It's pretty decent because I only saw the first and last episode when it aired on TV, and I wondered what the hell happened. How long am I going to be live streaming? I'm not too sure. I might choose a few more questions, and I might head out because I'm tired. And I still got this cold and shit, and I got to rest up and work on some other stuff. But I'll keep going until I feel like I'm done live streaming. You make your King Kong fan movie sequel, Kong King of Skull Island. Again, I get this question a lot. There's not going to be a sequel to my movie. I think it's fine as it is. It's very much on par with Jackson's in terms of it's a simple single movie story, no continuations. Although I would like to write some sort of thing, but I'm not connecting it to anything or anything like that. It's just it was a one-shot movie. It was never intended to have a sequel or a prequel. Although at first when I thought you brought Kong Skull Island, this is interesting because I went back. I've been watching the Kong Skull Island movie a lot lately in the last few days, and I just noticed so many things that it looks like they took from my film, and that's most notably in the costume design. Because go to a photo of John Goodman as Bill Randa in his jungle gear. Look at Tom Hiddleston in his jungle gear. Look at that one Vietnam soldier with the red bandana. Look at Brie Larson in some areas. And then compare them to some of the cast in my movie. They look awfully similar. And I thought that was hysterical because, like, I think they announced that in 2015, and that was around the time we were doing the effects shoots for Kong. And I think they might have saw something out of my film or whatever, and I get the feeling they were thinking about they kind of took a few elements from mine. Which, if that's the case, Warner Brothers, not asking for a check, but at least an acknowledgement if that's the case. Super Mario World or Super Mario Bros. 3. I love Super Mario World. That was one of the games that I remember fondly because the Super Nintendo was essentially my first console, even though I never owned one. I was playing it at my cousin's or at the daycare I was at when I was a kid. And Super Mario World was my first Mario game, so I love that game to death. Super Mario World. Long game though. I actually have it on the Game Boy Advance, and I think I played it. So I played a bunch of replays of other levels that I ended up getting like 100 lives, and I'm like at the very end. Congratulations, Nick. Actually, congratulations for me as well, because I forgot to I don't know if you guys have been watching, like, because usually when I'm not posting videos, I'm posting other stuff on the post section of this channel. The Lego Jaws movie hit 1 million views over this week, and I have to say thank you I have to say thanks to everybody who watched that video, but fuck, it's taken 7 years to get to 1 million views on that video. And I'm hoping that helps with my other videos getting a few million views, but I'm actually overall really happy with that. So yeah, Lego Jaws is the first video on the BigJackFilms history to hit 1 million views. Yeah, I want an R-rated Jurassic Park films too, but if they're gonna do it, it's probably gonna be a reboot. We have more fishermen than hunter, and yeah, that's something I don't know how the filmmakers would do that in that sense. Okay, that's funny. Loves Cretaceous. Good for you, Brad. That's great. You hit 183. You're getting up there to 200. You got to plan something for that. I do not have the Blu-ray for Kong 76, mostly because it has never been released here in Canada and the United States. It's only been available on the other side of the world. If I could get it from the other side of the world, the problem is it's really expensive to ship it and buy it online. But if I were to get a copy, I would. And I'd probably get a region free Blu-ray player. So, yeah, I would love to get a copy of the Blu-ray. Yeah, I have Twitter. I'll link below. If you look in the description, there is my Twitter, and you can follow me there. Actually, yeah, you guys can all follow me on Twitter and shit. That'd be great. You know what? Yeah, I want a Jack Sparrow prequel. I want to see, like something like that. Here's the thing with the Pirates franchise. One more movie, and then be like, okay, we're done. Because that whole post-credit scene in the 5th movie, like, that could have been cut, honestly, and you would have been fine ending it there. But if they did one more movie just for shits and giggles, even if it's like the fucking Jaws the Revenge of the Pirates movies, I don't care. Just make one more to end it all, and then move forward. If you're going to continue it after 5, do a prequel about Jack Sparrow. That CGI on the young Jack Sparrow looked perfect, so I don't see why you can't do one. But also, for the fuck of it, do an animated series. Because I remember seeing a lot of coloring books and shit when the movies came out, and they were very kind of 2D animated Disney-looking stuff for the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Make an animated series like that, kind of like the Aladdin animated series that they did after the movies, is what I would do with the Pirates franchise. TD Camper, it would depend on who is directing and writing and being cast. My perfect Inuyasha movie, the only person I see directing it properly is Peter Jackson. Because he could just take Inuyasha and give it the perfect, definitive Lord of the Rings treatment. And that would be something I would love. And he seems like a guy who respects a lot of the source material, so he'd probably cast it right and everything. Writers, again, it'd have to be Jackson and his group, because they're solid writers, in my opinion, in terms of doing something like that. And if they did do a movie, I want a continuation. I do not want a retelling or a reboot, because like it'd be interesting, because you could do a continuation. If people get confused, you just say, well, just watch the fucking show or read the manga. Why do we have to explain it to you? You know, there's so much there that is well told that you can just easily be caught up there. And that's what I want to do with the fan film, essentially, is just say, you know, I'm not going to reboot it. I'm not going to retell it. Just watch the fucking anime or read the goddamn manga. You know, I don't need to explain it all to you. But in terms of casting, I would not whitewash it. I would probably go with Japanese actors, but well-known Japanese actors. Like, who was I don't know the girl's name, the Japanese girl's name from Kong Skull Island. I forget her name, but I could kind of see her as Kagome, maybe a little younger, but her as Kagome. Kikyo, you know who I would cast as Kikyo? If only she wasn't too old for the part. The main girl from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. she is a solid fucking actress. And if she was still as young as she was in that movie, she'd be a perfect Kikyo. In terms of, but things like demons and monsters, if you're gonna do that, you can probably get away with doing some other groups of people being those characters. And with Inuyasha, you could, like, he is half demon, like dog demon, but he's also part Japanese. So you'd honestly have to go with kind of a mix of the two. But I would go for, like, even though he wasn't good, like, he was kind of okay in the prequels, I would go with somebody who's got a very Hayden Christensen look. Not acting, but look. Because I kind of looked at him and thought he'd be a good Inuyasha if he was like a little more Japanese in a way. But everybody else you'd have to cast based on stuff from Japan. Essentially is what I would do. But I'll get into that maybe in a Let's Talk down the line, because I do have a few ideas in terms of anime stuff that I do want to talk about. Well, honestly, Eric, the reason we did the Parasaur was mostly due to the fact that we could not decide for a goddamn monster in the swamp because it was too impractical and it was too impossible for the creatures we wanted. We wanted an Elasmosaurus. We just wanted a swamp monster, and it was just getting too difficult. But I figured, since I discovered the Legend of King Kong storyline, and the Parasaurolophus was in the swamps in the Universal script back in '75, I figured that'd be a nice little tribute to that movie, even though and technically, you don't see him eat people. He just chews them and spits them out. So you don't necessarily see them get eaten. And I think the Parasaurolophus, if anything, was just defending its territory. It wasn't necessarily eating them. He was just chewing them up and spitting them out. But yeah, Spinosaurus would be cool, even though that kind of did happen in Jurassic Park 3. Have I thought about directing a horror movie? Yeah, I have considered it, but I don't know what I would do it about. I don't know what I'd probably go back to what I like about horror films, which is making them scary. And having two things that a horror movie needs to work. It needs to be scary in terms of visuals and atmosphere. I like horror movies like that, but also you've got to have a classic, like not a classic monster, but you got to have a monster that will be iconic. And for me, that is what horror movies are kind of lacking nowadays. I'm glad it's kind of coming back with the It remake, which I'm looking forward to, which actually looks a lot scarier than the actual It movie, because Tim Curry in that movie is a fucking riot, fucking comedy gold in that movie. But I want horror movies to go back to taking iconic monsters and making them scary. And that's what I would do with horror movies in terms of that. But I do have a few projects in mind that I'd like to do. I'd like to do some sort of special ops movie or a war movie of some sort. Probably because of Kong Skull Island, I've been actually tempted to do some sort of Vietnam movie. I think that'd be really cool to do some sort of Vietnam movie. Trying to flesh out my recreate superhero universe, and I'll send me a PM, Nick, and and we'll talk about it. Yeah, Alejandro, it's funny because like the way Android 18 ended up becoming a recurring character on the show was mostly due to the fact that like it was just more of a side joke in the Orca review. I kind of figured I'd throw that out for shits and giggles because like interacting with cartoons and anime is something I've wanted to do on my show. And it was just thrown out there, and it just got a huge response. I'm like, I can make this work on a whole nother level. And because now my reviews are going to be more story-driven, as you saw in the post-credit scene for the Earthquake review, there will be actual like plot reasons why these characters show up. So that will be coming down the line. Yeah, right now it's 2:30 a.m. in the morning. And I'm doing this live stream, but I do it for you guys, and also I figured just because I wanted to get a video out there. Night, Bleach. Night, Bleach. Night. You know what? Lone Ranger was a flop, and was it excessively long? Yes. But do I feel it was needed to be hated? No, I feel like if anything, if they had trimmed like an hour out, it would have been fine. And that whole train scene was actually a lot of fun. I remember liking that. But I think if they did like maybe a low budget sequel, don't try to up the ante, do a low budget sequel, that would be fine. I'd be totally fine with another Lone Ranger, as long as they do it right. You know, as long as they like kind of fix it up. Yes, Michelle Young, Nick. Thank you for that. Green Hornet. I actually used to love the Green Hornet as a kid. I remember they did a crossover with the Adam West Batman show, and I was like, whoa, that was awesome. I have yet to see the movie, so. Holy shit, $50 for the 76 Blu-ray? God, see, that's how expensive they are. I even looked on eBay, and like the DVD Region 1 of Kong 76 is going up like crazy. It could be just you, Brad. It could be just the buffering. If you can make your own original anime, what would it be? That's tough, honestly. I don't honestly. Actually, you know what? I do have kind of an idea. I would do a Universal Monsters anime. And what I would do is essentially, if you watch the old Universal Monster movies, it's one of the most recurring actors in the movie is the old guy who plays Van Helsing and the professor in the Frankenstein movies and another character in The Mummy. I would make it specifically about him being a monster hunter, but it maybe just be about Van Helsing. But make it where he's a monster hunter and he just goes around finding monsters, occasionally killing them, but also like the iconic monsters he would probably keep alive or something like that. I would also make it very similar to like Castlevania. I would actually give Van Helsing like a whip or something, make him like Simon Belmont in Castlevania. But also, I would want him to have a love interest, and I would probably have it be Dracula's daughter, and make her look very Mocha-ish in terms of that. And that would be essentially an anime I would like to do. Also, Lord of the Rings anime. How the fuck has that not been done yet? Get the creators and the animators of Inuyasha and give them Lord of the Rings. That would be amazing, and they could be more faithful to the book and like tell everything that's in the book. That'd be great if they did a Lord of the Rings anime, or even a Star Wars anime, or not. Again, fuck, a Kong anime. That'd be great. I would love to see that. Remake The Thing. I have never seen The Thing. I'm so ashamed of saying that. Until I see it, I'd have to judge for myself. Kong would win. Spinosaurus has no fucking chance. The Kong movie is on my original channel, link below to the description. You can find it there. Just please bear in mind, do not watch it on a mobile device. Due to copyright issues, it fucks up the sound on mobile devices, so only watch it on your computer. And yeah, you can find it there. All right, let's see here. Oh, you want a good bloody horror movie, Geek Side? Go watch Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. I was warned about it by Monster Madness on Cinemassacre as being one of the goriest movies ever, and I finally got around to watching it, and Jesus fuck. Oh my god, just thinking about it just making me nauseous. And like the last third, and there's one scene, the climax of the movie almost made me puke. Almost made me sick to my stomach. And I'm not going to say what happens, but if you want a really good gory movie, like probably one of the best, go watch Brain Dead, because it's fucking insane. And this is the guy who did Lord of the Rings. And it's just fucking brilliant. I love it. I loved Brain Dead. It was just great. That's right. Yeah, the internet's kind of goes shitty. When will you start your Inuyasha fan film? When the script is finished. I've pretty much written the first half of it, and I want to try to get back on it because, again, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to do it as a web series or if I'm going to do it as an anthology series, as an anthology film series, because I'm debating where to put it in the timeline, after or in between. Yes, Edward Van Sloan. Thank you, Nick. You can always count on you for any of the monster facts. Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, I like it. I like all the movies. I will say the fifth one is the weakest, though. I will say that. I do see First one I think is a great movie. The second one is overly complicated, but I like it. The third one is epic as fuck, but it's too fucking long. The fourth one is a small side project, and the fifth one is just the first 2/3 are great, but the last act kind of sucks. Well, Geek Side, if you want to know, Halloween this year, I am planning to do Mummy Month. And that is when I'm going to be reviewing the 3 Brendan Fraser Mummy movies, The Scorpion King as a side review, and eventually it's going to lead up to the 2017 Mummy, which I've had to see, but I was looking forward to it, but given the bad reviews, I'm kind of dreading it now. But if you're asking if I'm going to review the Boris Karloff Mummy, that's going to be within the reviews as well as to talk about the original Boris Karloff film. But yeah, Mummy Month is coming, and I've written pretty much the first 2 episodes of it, so those will be coming down the road. Yeah, the dog's getting killed and hurt. I don't like that shit. I had the original cut of Brain Dead. I do have the original cut. That's the one I watched. Holy shit. Possibly review Jurassic Park fan films. I know for King Kong review season 4, the first half of it is going to be about the fan films. And essentially, with the fan films, that's going to actually lead up to me reviewing fan films on other stuff. Because there are a few fan films I have seen that I would love to review. One is like, there's one, because my favorite kind of fan films are the ones that were shot in like the 90s. And an example being Raiders the Adaptation, where it was all shot for shot, but it was on a shitty video camera. I love movies like that. They're Cinema Snob coined the craze shot on Shidio, and I've started to really like that format of filmmaking and film genre. And like the 1991 Terminator is an example, but there was a shot on Shidio movie, you can find it on YouTube, it's called Trespasser. And it was shot in 1998 on a shitty digital video camera, like a VHS camera, and it's just these 4 kids playing the characters from the movies and going to Jurassic Park and being chased by Kenner Jurassic Park action figures and hand puppets and using computer graphics from like the N64 game, or not the N64, the PS1 game. And it uses scores from like obviously Jurassic Park and The Lost World, but it also uses scores from Waterworld. And I remember stumbling upon this fan film, and I was actually like, this is funny and this is really entertaining. I love this. But yeah, eventually I will review other fan films. So who knows? I might take a look at yours sometime down the road. Where comes your love to King Kong? This will be explained in a documentary I'm working on about the making of my film. I remember the first time I saw King Kong, I was about 5. And my uncle had rented me 2 VHSs. One was the original Kong, the 1933 film, and King Kong Lives. And I obviously watched the original, and I was kind of like, at the time, I was like, oh, this is cool, this is fun. And, you know, like, it was very vague to me. It's kind of like the Mandela effect, where I remember certain scenes, and I go back, and it's not really in the film anymore. But then I watched King Kong Lives, and then realizing, wait, why is it in color? And it looks totally different. And I just thought it was just at the time, it was like a soft reboot where it was like a sequel, but it was like the previous incarnation was told in a modern time. And those were the first 2 Kong movies I ever saw. And at the time, I didn't think much of it. I just thought they were classic movies. And my uncle made me watch a lot of classic movies. I think also that day we also watched Jaws and Jaws 2. And I think Jaws 3D was in there, which I remember it did kind of spook me, but now it's a piece of shit. But really, King Kong didn't really come to mind probably until I wrote Confrontation back in 1998. And just seeing the big ape in person was, like, mind-blowing for me. And it freaked me out. It really scared me. And I went on it again in 2000. And that's where I think the real spark of it. It was also because Universal Studios was my spark in making films and wanting to get into the business and making movies. But Kong was like one of the main areas there. And it honestly wasn't until the Jackson movie that my Kong love really bloomed. Like, I liked the Jackson movie, but I went back and watched the original, and I kept watching it over and over, and just realizing how phenomenally awe-inspiring it was that it just left an impact. I watched all the DVDs, and that's really where my obsession grew, was back in 2005 with that film. And because especially after Lord of the Rings, because I Lord of the Rings pretty much changed my life in terms of getting me into the fantasy genre, and eventually Kong. I was like, okay, this is when I first heard Jackson was going to remake Kong. I'm like, okay, this might actually be cool now, and that's where my spark began. And then I watched the 1976 film again, and I was just like, what a great movie! And that was my favorite film at that point on, was the 70s. Like, honestly, I'm not gonna pick. I like 76, but 33 and 76 are tied for my favorite movie of all time, in terms of that. And it just spiraled into like I actually remember remaking Kong a couple of times. I remember remaking it on a shitty DVD cam with action figures. Then I remade it again in Lego, and again in Lego, and then I did my own version. And that's really, and it's just continued today. I don't know why it is that I essentially got obsessed with Kong at that point. All right, we got a lot of questions here. Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, both. I can't choose. Sorry. I can't choose which side I'm on. Any upcoming video games I'm looking forward to? I'm not one for new video games. Because one, I haven't gotten one of the new consoles. I mean, fuck, for portable games, I'm still stuck on the Game Boy Advance SP. That's how far back I am. But in terms of new game, I actually might get an Xbox One X because it's backwards compatible with previous Xbox games. And I've been an Xbox fan since the first one. That's been the go-to console for me in terms of the new generation. But I might get an Xbox One X. In terms of games, probably South Park, The Fractured Butthole, and Battlefront 2, because Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2 from 2005, is my second favorite game of all time. And with the complaints from Battlefront the new Battlefront, the EA Battlefront, I heard it was just shit. I'm like, I don't want to play this. The graphics look great, but it's nothing compared to the old school game. And then Battlefront 2, I see a lot of that. I'm like, okay, I might play this now because it looks like they've really improved and it's gone back to the old school Battlefront. But those are really the only few game and consoles I'm looking forward to. All right. Fan film King Kong versus Prometheus. No, I've gotten a lot of emails about that one, but I'm debating if I'm going to put that in the fan film list. I haven't watched it yet, though. I might look at it. Finally, Nick! Finally, you're going to review that damn movie. You're going to review the Kong movie. It's about frickin' time. I want to see your point of view. The Pirates movies I might do down the road, but I want to plan something with it where I actually do like a pirate movie. Like, because one of the things I'm starting to see a lot of critics and reviewers do is try to make their reviews more production-based. And I'm starting to get into that field as well. So if I do the Pirates movies, I actually want to make a pirate movie within the review. And in order to do that, be filming on water, filming with ships, figuring out how all that's going to work. But maybe sometime down the road I will review the Pirates movies. I don't know when, though. What should happen to the Young Indiana Jones TV series? Should Disney scrap them and keep... I'd say keep them as canon, even though I never watched the show. I mean, fuck, just rerun it. Kids will eat that shit up on the Disney Channel. That'd be great if they just showed Young Indiana Jones. But in terms of Indiana Jones himself, do I think 5 is a bad idea? Yeah. I think doing a 5th one because 4 was so fucking god-awful. I think what they should do with Indy is what they should do with James Bond, where they recast him every few years depending on the actor. So do I think Chris Pratt would be a great Indiana Jones? Yes. I think they should cast him and just not necessarily do a like all in canon, but just tell new adventures in the way the old school Indiana Jones movies were made. Not in the 50s, not in this. Just tell them in the 30s, but make new adventures, new stories about Indiana Jones. Fuck, base them on the books that were written, for Christ's sakes, or the games. You know, there's plenty of adventures for indie to do. But just stick to what we know about indie, but just recast them and like do a new, like reboot it essentially. That's what I would do with indie. Yeah, 76 is great. Oh no, King Kong Escapes. God damn it. That movie's kind of like, I'll be honest, King Kong Escapes is kind of lame. I mean, I get it's part of the Kong lore, but it's not really my cup of tea, honestly. Like, I like it. It's cheesy, but it's like Batman 60s cheesy. No, I haven't watched Little Witch Academia. Sure, Bleach, go ahead. I'm glad it's inspired you, Lovelace Cretaceous. And I'm just happy. That's one of the biggest things I can take from being on YouTube for almost 10 years, is that my work's been able to inspire. That honestly is like the best gift I could receive from you guys, is the fact that I've inspired a lot of you guys to do your own films, and I think that's absolutely great. I love The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is a great movie. I remember being so hyped for it, and it just didn't disappoint. Do I feel it was snubbed to Best Picture nominee? Abso-fucking-lutely. But I still love it. I mean, the whole trilogy I really enjoy. And I mean, Batman Begins for me is probably my least favorite because of the editing and the kind of slow pace. Like, it's cool to see Batman become Batman, but there's very little of him in it. I mean, even Dark Knight Rises, there's very little, but there's still a lot more to enjoy in that film. And also that movie, holy fuck, Dark Knight Rises was really, really bleak and really probably the most realistic Batman, aside from Dark Knight. Because, wow, like that movie, I remember seeing that in the theater, doing a triple feature of the first two, and it just blew my mind. I was so excited on that film. Again, Spider-Man Homecoming, I haven't seen it yet, so we already discussed it. If you later on go watch the live stream and you can see my thoughts on it. Yeah, I will agree. It's not as good as the other three Kong films, but I actually do enjoy it. I'm starting to like it actually a little more, but I'm still gonna keep it like in the middle between and Kong 05 in terms of the Kong movies. How would you depict Mecha Kong? He looks like a robot Donkey Kong, or one of the banana splits. If you guys don't know what the banana splits is, ask your parents or grandparents. I remember, funny thing, I remember the banana splits because I used to live in the States, and I watched a lot of Cartoon Network. Like, my favorite show on Cartoon Network was Ed, Edd n Eddy. But I would watch Cartoon Network even on school nights, like late into the night. So I would watch Adult Swim. I would watch Home Movies, which is probably one of my favorite shows of all time, Home Movies. But occasionally you get that time frame around 3 o'clock in the morning, and you catch something called the Banana Splits. And I was watching it late. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? But I was just like, it's charming or whatever. This is back in the old 90s Cartoon Network, too. So back when they showed they showed Gumby at fucking like 4 in the morning, like 2 or 4 in the morning. And because I was a huge Gumby fan, that was the only time I get to watch it. I mean, but the thing is, Harrison Ford, he's getting up there, man. Maybe one more movie and then reboot it. I wouldn't recommend keeping him on for too long. 80s, 90s. Okay, let me put it like this. The 80s had some of the best music. The 90s had some of the best movies, or 70s and 90s had some of the best movies. And 2007 was the launch of the internet. Honestly. Yeah, I jump around through time frames. I mean, for me, let me just put it like this, like music for me. I'm only starting to get more every year, more and more into like music, but my favorite music is probably from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. My favorite band is probably like favorite bands: the Eagles, Genesis. I'm trying to think what else. Heart. Aerosmith. Starting to get into Black Sabbath. Led Zeppelin. Like Stairway to Heaven is like my fucking national anthem. To that as like if I ran my own country, that would be the national anthem, the Stairway to Heaven. Oh, God damn it, Bleach. I'm not gonna laugh at that. I'm not gonna laugh at that, but that's not half bad. Thoughts on my ratings? What do you mean your ratings? Like your rating system, or I'm not too sure what you mean. Where did you see that cancer itself? Where did you see that Blu-ray? Because if that's the case, I might have to take a look at where I can buy that. Blair Witch 2016. I was gonna go see it because I was actually kind of interested in seeing it because the Blair Witch Project actually was a movie that did scare the fuck out of me because I was there when it was hugely hyped. And I couldn't see it when I was a kid because it was an R rating, but I eventually watched it at Blockbuster, and it freaked me out. I had nightmares for months. Actually, you know what? Even, you know, it was equally as scary because the Blair Witch was so fucking popular back then that Cartoon Network did a Scooby-Doo, like, 24-hour, like, week marathon of Scooby-Doo, and they titled it the Scooby-Doo Project. If you go on YouTube, you can find all the segments from it, but even that freaked me out because the Blair Witch Project was so popular and just the ideal. Like the fact that you couldn't see anything, it was just the presence is what freaked me out. Primal fear is something like that I love in horror movies that just really get under my skin and freak me out. But the Blair Witch Project really scared me as a kid. I look back on it now, it's really fucking stupid. It's still eerie, like it still has its moments of scariness. But I mean, the fact that you don't see the witch is a disappointment. Blair Witch 2, I remember being hyped up, and then it went fucking nowhere. And I saw the Nostalgia Critics review. Never saw it, but I saw the critics review. I'm like, wow, I'm glad I skipped out on that because that would have been confusing and fucking stupid. Like, what were they thinking with Book of Shadows, honestly? But with the new Blair Witch, I've yet to see it, but I've heard good things about it. So I might check it out down the line. I don't know. I might take a look at it this Halloween. Thinking if I have a couple friends that we might watch those two movies for Halloween. Ratings for the Kong films. I would say maybe stick to maybe a 1 out of 5 or something like that, Nick. Depending on what you want to do. Let's see here. The Godfather movies. You know, I remember seeing those as a kid, like all 3 movies in a row with my mother, and I didn't get it all. I did not understand it. And maybe because it's funny because if you watch Rugrats in Paris, the beginning of the movie pretty much starts with a Godfather parody. And even as a kid, I'm like, ha, I understand that reference. That's funny. But I mean, and I was in kind of the same area Angelica was. I had I saw it at a young age. I had no clue what the fuck was going on, but I had some really fucked up visuals. But that's something I might actually go back and watch because I haven't seen the entire trilogy in its entirety since I was a kid. But maybe because I'm an adult, I'll understand it better. So who knows? Maybe The Godfather will be something I'll take a look at down the road. Favorite Don Bluth movies? That's a good question because I love Don Bluth. My favorite thing that he ever did, hands down, Land Before Time. That was my childhood, and I'll admit I do enjoy some of the sequels, like 1 through 6, or actually out of the first one is a classic. Nothing can touch that. But movies 2 through 6 are actually passable sequels. 7 through 9 are fucking ridiculous and stupid. 10 brought it back to an actual good point and actually something we hadn't seen before. And then after that, I didn't care. I did not give a fuck. I know it was still going on, and I haven't but a lot of it's just really cheap now. So, but the first Land Before Time is my personal favorite Don Bluth movie, I think. But you know what's weird? I grew up with a Trill in Central Park. I don't think that movie's really that bad. I really don't think it's that terrible. Is it a baby movie? Absolutely. Is it for real little kids? Yes. But it's just got a real charm. I think it actually kind of has a charm to it. And God bless Dom DeLuise. He left us too fucking early. I think Was it almost 10 years ago when he died? Dom DeLuise? Because I love that man. That man is funny, but he just seemed like a really nice guy who was like really friendly to kids and just like he just had such an iconic voice, Dom DeLuise. Actually, it's weird because like this movie's a guilty pleasure. The Magic Voyage is a guilty pleasure movie for me, and it's mostly just due to Dom DeLuise because he's fucking hilarious in that movie. So yeah, Dom DeLuise, Don Bluth, love all that shit. So, but I think other movies that Don Bluth has done, I've only seen American Tail once. It did kind of bore me. I think I was more of a fan of Fievel Goes West. And in terms of other Don Bluth works, I've really yet to see like I actually like Anastasia. I take that back. I like Anastasia, but in terms of other Don Bluth stuff, I just haven't really watched much of it. I've seen bits of The Small One. I've seen bits of Rockadoodle, but and I've seen most of Dragon's Lair. But and by the way, I am looking forward to a Dragon's Lair movie. If they're still planning that, I want to see that. So Don Bluth, hands down, favorite movie of all time, Land Before Time. Yeah, the Toronto Zoo, we have a family of gorillas in the facility, which are taken care of really well. And whenever I go to the zoo, that's the one area I'll spend half my day in just to watch these guys and even try to interact with them behind the glass, which is cool. Which is cool. And honestly, with the shit going on with their species almost being extinct, I hope they pull through. I really hope they pull through. And if zoos are the only place we can keep them, then that's our only option. I never got into wrestling. My cousin was huge into it. He still has all his action figures, so I'm gonna go play with his figures. But WWE is not really my thing. I only know a few of the stars, so like The Rock is probably the only one I really give a shit about. I remember Stone Cold Steve Austin. For some other guy, there were like two different Stone Cold Steve Austins. There was one for the Canadian version and one for the American version. I forget who the other guy was. I remember The Undertaker, but like really wrestling was not really my thing, honestly. Check out the band called Suburban Lawns. I'll maybe take a look at that sometime. Would you watch a modern remake of The Lost World? Yes, that is a movie that or story that needs to be told on a big budget, and that's something I really do want to see. How long was making a review? Usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks to put together, depending on what's in it, like content wise or story, and you know what you want to put in it. Like usually I try to do the clip sections first, and then I move on to the live sections and so on. So, but it usually takes about 3 weeks for a review. And in terms of the fan film, I was editing it as I was shooting. So it took me a couple of years to finally nail it down to a final lock and print. It took me most of the time during the production. Don died 8 years ago. Holy shit. Wow. Really, that had been that long? Because I remember Huey Two doing like a really nice tribute to him. Because he's also a good singer. He did Absolutely Green for a show in Central Park. And that song still kind of gets me a little choked up, especially since his passing. I've yet to see War of the Planet of the Apes, but I plan to because I love those last 3 movies. Have been a fucking blast. So I do want to see it, and I've heard a lot of great things about it. All right. If you ever understand why people hate, you know what it is? I think people just complain that one, it's too long, and that there are some flaws with it. But the problems that people don't like, a lot of things people seem to ignore is just the fact that the dinosaurs look consistent with the first one. It feels like a bit like the first one, and it's just a fun adventure. And what Spielberg was originally going for was like a mix of the novel by Michael Crichton, the Arthur Conan Doyle novel, and the 25 film, as well as King Kong. It was a mix of those 3 movies, and that's pretty much what the film is, and I like it for that. But I can see why it has problems, but I choose to ignore it because I find actually the fun action scenes are great in Lost World. All right, good night, geeky side. You know what? I heard that. That's devastating news about the vocalist for Linkin Park. I only like one of their songs, and that's the song they did for Transformers. But I've not really listened to much of them, and I feel bad. Like, I hate it when like certain celebrities die. Like Michael Jackson, I was devastated when he passed, and I only started to get into his music. So but like Linkin Park, yeah, I feel bad, but like I'm not. I'm shocked, but it's not like I never grew up really with Linkin Park, honestly. Ute Tyrannus. No, I have not. You'll have to send me what the hell that is, Eric. All right, trying to scroll down here. But the first transfer is the Rift. Okay, this will probably be the last question, I think, depending if we can get. Oh wait, there's more questions. Sorry. I like the first one. I hate the second one. The second one's a piece of shit. The third one's incredibly epic, but way too fucking long, like most third movies. The fourth one I have yet to see, and the fifth one I just don't fucking care. Okay, well, spoiler alert, Nick. Keep the ratings until you do your review. Okay, are we down to our last few comments? Okay, I think I'm gonna pretty much end it soon. Let's get one more question out of the way, make it count, guys, and then I'll sign off this live stream. So make it count. One more question. Who's got one? Fire away. The first question I see. Yeah, and I'm getting a little tired too, so I want to head to bed soon. Well, obviously the 1976 King Kong. Okay, remake of Jaws. That's a good question. We'll end it here. I do not think Universal should do that. I think they should leave Jaws well alone. However, I would suggest re-releasing it. Maybe convert it to 3D, but not the Jaws 3D, but like, because I feel like that, like, I know they did a lot of Phantom screenings at back in 2015 for the 40th anniversary, but I think it just needs a bigger worldwide release, because I guarantee you show an old movie like that in theaters, people will go see it, and a new generation will be introduced to these films, especially given the fact that the shark movie genre is just fucking, it's so stale, it's so boring, it's getting ridiculous, and I'm just not a fan of all these crappy CGI over-the-top zombie sand ground air shark movies. They're getting fucking ridiculous, and I don't know why they keep making them, but Jaws will always remain the definitive shark movie, as Spielberg has stated. But if you are going to revive Jaws, if you're not going to re-release it, here's something a little better. And it's going to sound ridiculous. Jaws 5. You could technically make that work, but make it the final Jaws movie. Don't do any more after, but make Jaws 5. The way I would see them doing it is bring back Steven Spielberg to direct, or at least produce, and look at the script. I would suggest doing an animatronic shark, getting the legacy effects, the people behind Stan Winston, make the shark exactly how he is in the first film, but updating, the animatronics like in Deep Blue Sea. And the biggest thing you should get, Richard Dreyfuss. Richard Dreyfuss, he is an incredible actor. He's kind of, I think, I don't know how long he's going to be with us. I mean, he'll probably be I'm not saying he's going to die or anything. I'm saying he's getting old, guys. But get him to do this last movie and make it about his character. Because where the hell has his character been in the past 40 years? I know Piranha had a scene with Richard Dreyfuss getting killed, and that was said was Matt Hooper, but it wasn't. So it's not in canon, and Matt Hooper is not dead. So do a final Jaws movie. Maybe have it where it's like Matt Hooper is essentially having maybe traumatic stress from the experience 40 years ago. Maybe he goes back to Amity. Maybe Amity is now a closed island. It's like it's been run down because of the amount of events with the sharks. And, like, it's been abandoned, and there's not much left. You can maybe get back Lorraine Gary. That'd be nice. And possibly, like, I don't know, the son of Quint. You know, that'd be cool because, like, you know, him and Hooper's relationship was so great in that movie. Like, make it where he tries to redeem themselves over it. But, you know, and obviously have another shark. But you know what? Actually, you know what? This would be cool. If you're going to do the shark, have one, but make him bigger, number one. Make him about a 30-foot shark. Do 2 sharks. We have yet to see that in any of the Jaws movies. Like, we had Jaws 3D with a baby shark, but I'm talking 2 great whites. At least do that, or a bigger shark, but make it the final movie again, and Matt Hooper has to basically have to kill the beast, and it's coming back to haunt him and everything. And the tagline should be, this would be great. No, Lorraine Gary, I think, is still kicking, Nick. I think Lorraine Gary is still kicking. The thing is with the 5th Jaws, the tagline should be, and I've seen this in so many fan trailers. Go look up fan trailers for Jaws 5. There's a great one using the Alien sound trailer music, which is why I did that in my Jaws Month review. Essentially, the tagline is, never go back in the water again. That should be the tagline, and then they should just do one last hurrah Jaws movie for that old, kind of like The Force Awakens, but for Jaws. And that's how I would do, basically, reviving the genre, reviving the Jaws series, is make a 5th film, and then just do no more. And just, like, I know Jaws the Revenge was technically the last one, but it'd just be interesting to see one that's a new story in the Jaws universe. And that's essentially what I would do. And you know what? Maybe I'll actually save a lot of that for Let's Talk, because I do want to bring that up at some point. So, and it's funny because Richard Dreyfuss is going to be at Fan Expo. Maybe I could ask him about that. Like, hey, if they did a Jaws 5, would you be up for doing it? And he'd probably be like, cool. So, yeah, that's it for this live stream, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I've been going at this shit for 2 hours. I'm fucking tired, and I need to go to bed. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll do one more of these sometime down the road. There are videos coming, but some of them might be delayed because I haven't gotten around to editing them yet. So, until the next video, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. So, until then, this is BigJackFilms saying goodnight, get some sleep, and I'm signing off.